Hi, I'm Bob Thomas and I'm here today with the new Eon G12 from JBL. This is the latest in the Eon series that have been going for some time and replaces the old G2. It's a complete redesign from the ground up. As you'll see, it's a completely different cabinet shape from the old one and it's much more in the modern style. It's got the latest materials and technology, latest JBL drivers, and it also features JBL's new waveguide technology. There's a new waveguide on the treble driver, and for the first time that I've ever seen one, there's a waveguide on the bass driver. You can't see it through this grille, unfortunately, but it's kind of a lobe-shaped thing that's designed to keep the bass dispersion very, very even. And from listening tests, I can see that it works. This is a two-way system, and the whole thing's designed to give you a really high-quality sound. They're trying to get as close to studio monitor sound in a live situation as possible. Power, it's 1000 watts. Digital amplification, 1000 watts. There's 700 on the bass end and 300 on the top end. That's peak power. Continuous, about 350 and 150. It weighs a very light 33 pounds. It's great. This is the middle one in the series. This is the 612, as we said. Below this, there's a 610, which has got slightly less power. And then there's a 615, which is the same power, and a 15-inch bass driver. The 10 has a 10-inch bass driver. Now, if we look at the cabinet itself, there's some interesting things here. Firstly, for the first time on an Eon, you've got suspension points, so you can hang this thing up in the air if you're doing an installation. It's also got handles on both sides, which is really useful. The original big Eons only had a handle on one side and could be quite awkward. And on the bottom, you've got a top hat recess for a stand and locating pads that allow you to stack the units together very securely. One thing you want to look out for when you're putting this on a stand is that you can get your finger caught in this area between the stand when you're trying to get it into the top hat. Did that to my finger this morning. Nothing serious, but it's just a thing to be aware of. It stands upright, it goes back as a monitor, or you can have it facing forward as a front fill if you're playing off a stage. Right, control-wise, round the back. Inputs, they're balanced TRS or Canon on a combi connectors. It's a two-channel mixer effectively. You've got level controls for channel 1 and channel 2, and then there's a master volume. Indicator lights here, here and here show you either signal present on the channels, or in the case of the master volume, it'll show you when you're actually getting the thing just a little bit too loud and you're starting to, it's hitting the limiter. Like most of these new generation of monitors that are basically DSP run inside with the digital amplifiers, there are preset EQs for basic use. So the main full range monitor, it's set to allow for the frequency boosts off the floor. A sub, when you're using this with a sub, it puts in a 100 Hertz high-pass filter, so you've only got the top end in the Eon. And then speech is a band-limited frequency response, especially for speech. Once you've selected your basic operating mode, you can switch it in and out just to check that it's actually what you want. You can switch it in and out with the EQ switch here. Big thing about these is the remote control. Unlike some speakers that have used or tried to use Wi-Fi, this uses Bluetooth, and it's a very simple setup. You simply push the Bluetooth sync button, the light comes on when it's locked into your Bluetooth device, and that's it. Lastly, there's a switch up here that lets you turn off the light on the front. As you'll see on the front down the bottom here, there's a white light that lets you know the power's being applied to the speaker. You can, if you want, and there would be some situations I can think where you might want to do that, you can turn it off. And lo and behold, it goes off. Perhaps not the most useful feature on the unit, but one nevertheless. Now we come to the Bluetooth remote control of the 600 series. This panel here is very like the back panel of the unit itself. You have the 4 operating modes: main, monitor, sub and speech. You can select between them. You have the volume control, master volume, and then if you're using the speaker down the hall as a delay tower so that it matches with the main PA, you can set the delay in feet. You can then move to the EQ window. If I can get my fingers in the right place. And here you've got a treble, bass, and a 3-band fully parametric EQ to play with. So the bass, and it's just literally, as with all these iPad type applications, touch it, pull it, and then select a frequency. You've got variable Q, you've got variable gain, so you can bring it in as tight or as wide as you like, and then you can set the frequency that it operates at. And that's true of all of them. So they're all identical operation. Treble and bass, as you can see, are shelving controls, and the other 3 are fully parametric. The next thing we have is there's a configuration page which allows you to set presets, EQs, and of course update the firmware, because with all things digital there's bound to be a firmware update along sometime. And that's basically it. It's a very simple app to use. It's really good, it's really quick, and I like it. So there you have it. That's the JBL Eon 612. A new speaker that I think is going to be just as successful as the old Eon was. I like it.
If you've enjoyed this program, you'll definitely want to check out Guitar Interactive. This free 200-page online guitar magazine is available now at iGuitarMag.com. And if the performances on this show have inspired you to improve your playing techniques, then head on over to licklibrary.com for some free guitar lessons and great jam tracks.